Astralis have announced that they will be signing Cadian to take over the in-game leadership duties from Device, and he will be playing as a rifler. So when I saw this, again, it came across my timeline while I was in the middle of like doing other things, and I was like, these kids with their stupid like fucking clout chasing meme bullshit. There's just no way. But it's real. It was on HLTV very shortly after, and I was like, and it was on the Astralis feed. So, yep, okay. And I'll just start out by reiterating a story from Copenhagen, the major. You remember when I went, when it was all Cope and no Hagen, and Richard came out of retirement and he hosted a major, and for a brief moment the community were like, oh yeah, Richard's all right actually, he's been a pretty good servant to CS. I like him, decent host actually, yeah, that was good. And it lasted about 2 days before everyone was telling me to kill myself again. Well, anyway, I went there, and they did an HLTV confirmed episode live, and I went. I was invited. It's kind of weird. There's only one person at HLTV that really hates me, but he hates me psychotically. Everyone else is kind of like, he is the godfather of esports journalism. He's all right, and he goes back. All us oldies are in the trenches together. There's one guy who just won't let go. And all the hate emanates from that. But anyway, I was like, they invited me and they were really nice and generous, and they even put me in the front row VIP seats, and I think they got some pictures of me from that event, which is now on the HLTV database. Don't use those photos, kids. All you aspiring journalists and clout goblins out there, don't do that. They've paid for them. It's their property, so don't do that. And anyway, during that episode, that was where they brought Device and that manager whose name I can never remember from Astralis on. And basically, they did an interview where the highlight of it really was Device accidentally using the term stabby to talk about Stown and Yabby. Yeah, Casper Strauber. That's the fella. Thank you, chat. I see you're killing it, guys. And the rest of it was basically PR speak about how this was definitely the best move to move Device to IGL and get rid of BlameF. Now, I know a thing or two, because as I said, the Danish scene has never had any secrets from me. I've got loads of friends in the Danish scene, and, they all love a good gossip, because they're just, they're regular guys at the end of the day. And so, I know how Blame pretty much got fucking snaked, right? I wrote a huge article about it, actually, which I should probably show you at some point. It's on the fucking Substack. You subscribe to that, you can go and get it. But basically, it was talking about how all of the how Stown and Yabby basically engineered their move to Astralis in the first place because they didn't like Cadian and all of that stuff. And they get there, and then immediately BlameF is on his last legs. And I've talked about this. People are going, Richard, you're way off on this. I defy anyone to go back and watch those BlameF games when Stown and Yabby first come into the team and watch how they play and watch their rotations and watch the moves that they make. There's no way that's being called on the server. There's no way. There's no way BlameF is saying, do this. Fuck me. There's no way. And there was just some very strange things going on. Lo and behold, Blame gets dropped, and they decide Device is the future now. They're going to put Bro into the team, more on him a little bit later, and Device is going to take over at IGL, and Device said, because Device, by the way, fucked over BlameF as well by publicly tweeting, I'm not having a good time. I don't give a fuck about your good times, mate. You're a professional athlete, and you're in your late 20s. The window is closing, homie. You're one of the greats. Do you want to maybe make it definitive that you are the GOAT? There's time. But, when you're pathetically tweeting about, I'm not having a good time, it's not meant to be fun, bro. Fun comes later. Fun comes at 35. Spoiler, it doesn't, by the way, as anyone who's watched recent streams know. It's existential hell. But anyway, fun comes at 35 when you take all of your money and all of your millions and you spend it and you have a good time and you look back in a treasured, cherished career. That's the fun, right? But Device wants to have fun while he's winning, and sometimes winning isn't fun. So he tweeted that out, and basically that ramped up the pressure on BlameF. Then there was that debacle with the interview and everything else. So they installed Device as IGL, and Astralis backed this play. And after that episode of HLTV Confirmed, that Casper Strauber guy came up to me in front of some of the other journalists, and he was like, "Oh, it is, my good friend Richard Lewis," and he was like trying to alpha me with like his handshake, And I said, yeah, it's good to be here, mate. It's a shame you've just wasted a fucking hour of my life I won't get back with that PR bullshit. Oh, and by the way, this move, total fucking waste of time. Waste of everyone's time. You're a GM, you should know that shit. And he just stared at me in utter disbelief. There was a couple of the journalists, again, I won't name them. They just turned away and were sort of laughing. Because I think he thought I was the kind of punk-ass motherfucker to be intimidated because someone squeezes my hand a little bit. And I'm just not. Now, the problem with that was it was a pretty fucking bold venture, right? And the problem with that, mate, is it looked like I was going to have fucking egg all over my face. Because it didn't start out too fucking bad. Oh, shit, did I already rat you out? No, sorry, mate. Yeah, it was no. He was there. He saw the whole thing. He can verify it. Did happen. So anyway... It started out, in fact, like just before. Let's show you how worried I was. Right, this is how I was worried. Good old Liquipedia winning awards. Love you. Couldn't do my job without you. Right, here it is. So this is Astralis. This is let's go to this. Complete results in any tournaments, and if memory serves me correct, it was this. This was Blame F's last tournament. This disastrous finish at Katowice. That was it. Sorry, no, it was the RMR, wasn't it? The disastrous RMR. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, they went into the decider, didn't they? Yeah, that was Blame F's last tournament. So anyway, as you can see, it hadn't been a particularly great run. There was some like semis in there, and it was all this blue. It was so blue. This was an embarrassment. This was really debilitating because it was like, I don't know, 3 majors in a row they haven't fucking qualified for or whatever. And this is where device gets installed. And so they go to Chengdu, semi-finalists. I was like, right, because if you look, it was like, yeah, they got here and could have been one of those. So you're like, okay, all right, fuck. I'm going to look really stupid. Next time Casper Strauber shakes my hand, I'm going to have to go, oh, you're so manly, sir. Right? And then they got to the semi-finals of Pro League. You're like, oh, God. They've got these 2 shit tournaments coming up next. They got that CCT. They got the CTE fucking global finals and the Yala Compass, which is just an excuse to give money to Astralis, right? So I was like fucking dreading it. I was dreading it. But then they couldn't even win the CTE global finals, which kind of felt like it should have been a bit of a layup for them, right? Eternal Fire won that, for context. And then this was the one, and they lost to Mongols in the final. And everybody said, Mongols are a top 10 team. And this was definitely an S-tier tournament. All of that being lies. But anyway, this really was meant to be the fucking one that they won. This was a freebie. This was a gimme. They got all the way to the final. In fact, no, they didn't even get the final. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, they lost to the Mongols in the semis. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, because it was NIP in the final. That's right. So they couldn't even beat Mongols to get into the final of a trophy like that. And so I was like, at this point, I went, you know what, guys? I've won. That's the honeymoon period. It's over. It'll all be in Device's head now that he's bad IGL and they should have had at least 2 tournaments out of those 4. And it's over. It's over. Plus as well, Stown is a fucking group stage hero. He's a Farmers League player, and he fucking farms all the shit is in the group stage. And then it's like, yo, Stown, you want to put on some of that fucking high fragging star player? You want to turn that on now, mate? Because we got a good team to play. Nah, I'll just be missing if that's all right with you. So I knew once they didn't seal Yala, old Yala, we were going to be all right. And lo and behold, they went to spring finals. It was 56th again in the 4 groups. Then they went to Cologne. Cologne was really bad, 9th to 12th. And then they've just had their ever-loving shit pushed in the ESL Pro League in glorious fashion. In fact, just again, I'm sure you've been watching the Pro League. But keep in mind, You get so many chances to win it. Like, just look at this sprawling nightmare of a league. Like, how do you go out? So, like, how do you go out down here with the likes of Atox Esports and the terminally awful Team Falcons? Now, you down there, Wild Card, FlyQuest, Nip. It's ridiculous. And of course, Fnatic, I think, beat them, and Blame F got his got his revenge there a little bit. Not that he should have ever joined Fnatic. He's thrown his career away. So anyway, this was all I'm gonna say is one of the Reddit narratives I fucking detested was Blame F was a terrible IGL. They were going nowhere. Blame F's a super low impact player. Blame F's a beta. No team he plays on is ever gonna fucking perform well. And everybody was like, wow, of course it's the right move. Well, that doesn't look a million miles away from that to me. So, turns out being an IGL, harder than you might think, even if you are one of the greatest players of all time. And players are going to learn this lesson eventually. I'm so sick of watching star players throw away the last of the fucking summer wine. Just pour it down the fucking toilet because they get it into their heads that I can be an IGL and it will extend my career. And hey, I understand the game on a super deep level, so that obviously means I'm a real level-headed person and a super good communicator. I said it at the time, like, it's nothing against Device, but being an IGL, you've got to be so strong in your mind. You've got to be so fucking mentally resilient, and that just isn't a trait he has displayed that he has throughout his career. Quite the opposite. So when you have to be mentally resilient and also juggle another 4 or 5 personalities and everybody has to get along, it's like why I've always maintained, I think one of the reasons they brought Rugger in wasn't necessarily to be some sort of high-level, technical coach, although I'm not disparaging Rugger at all. I think he gets a rough time from the community. There's a reason he stays in a job for a long period of time, and look, anything's got to be better than fucking throwing your reputation away for a piece of shit like Hunden, right? But I think they wanted someone that was going to help, like, just chill everyone the fuck out and help mitigate some of those, like, difficult situations, and be somebody that was going to uncomplicate stuff and just like, look, guys, tranquilo, let's get it down here, right? I think that was going to be his main role. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter because, as we've established, it is Jova for Device. Hilarious in the sense that, because we are going to do this, we are going to be unbelievably petty. Do just want to remind everyone that it's a role I see myself in for many years to come. And let me see, how many years was it? Oh no, it was 5 months. My bad. Sorry, 5 months. Yeah, not many years at all. So look, it's hard. It's hard being an IGL, right? The problem with Astralis is, and all of their players and everything else, they always set themselves up for the fall. Always. They really do. And so they'd say these crazy things in the press releases. I think, by the way, this was the same lineup when they announced Bro. They thought it was Bro Ross, didn't they? Because they were like, yeah, he's in Monty or something. So we'll talk about, as I said, Bro in a moment. But anyway, let's get back to the big story, the big move. Why is this a move that should shock you? Well, first of all, Stown and Yabi obviously manufactured a move to Astralis from Heroic under the pretext that they wanted to get away from Cadian. And so Cadian's stock is pretty fucking low right now. Why? Because he went to Team Liquid, and that should have been the super team. Remember, dickhead here fucking said they're going to be the #1 team in the world if everything works. Look at all of the pieces. I'm super excited. Skulls is going to be an elite level pickup, and Cadian's going to be a great leader, right? And anyway, Cadian found out, like a lot of Europeans, sometimes you just aren't going to gel with the NA mindset. It's just oil and water. It just isn't going to fucking work out. And I'm told, obviously behind the scenes, he didn't help himself. He put his foot down. I think IGL should get to do that. Same way coaches should get to do that. It's not just a position on a team. It is a mantle of authority, right? That's how it should be viewed, but it isn't, because esports is fucking whack. But anyway, I heard he put his foot down on some stuff, and it pissed everybody off. And obviously when the team broke apart in shocking fashion, there was some kind of like little digs, little interviews. Like there was this from Twists. Let's get this up. We'll get rid of the petty one. Yeah, by Tom Petty. You can see this was an interview over at play.gg, and he said here, this is the quote, where is it? It made me appreciate Carrigan, is what he says. Yeah, here it is. How did you experience playing under Cadian and his system? It was very different from what I have experienced before in FaZe. In some way, it made me value Carrigan a lot more. And that's all I have to say about that. Siren Doxers. Next up was Zeus. Zeus also kind of got a few little digs in his interview when he went away. This was over on HLTV. The question was, and how was the leadership in the way of approaching the game managed? And he said, at the start of the team, I did everything I could to put Cadian as the leader and captain so that everyone could follow the calls and his ideology and really embrace his leadership. So I think throughout these problems and these disagreements and incompatibilities, it started to change. There was an attempt to adapt to a style where there was more than one way for us to make rotations and play the game. Because as much as there was a leadership style, there was a bit of, let's say, difficulty in how this leadership was received by the team. This leadership was gradually lost halfway, in partially due to some of Cadian's own decisions and partially due to some harsh resistance and opposition put up by some players. Then the big problem we had was how to restructure the leadership moving forward. Cadian would keep calling, but we would have our own style with everyone's ideas and inputs. And what we call that, in scientific terms, is a fucking shit show. That's what that is. Because obviously you cannot have I know NA teams love this. He's lit, he's over there, he's lit, he's going along. No, he's not, he's round the back, he's with B. And it's just like a fucking circus every single fucking time when you listen to NA comms. Frankly embarrassing. And so having an IGL and having two players that are like, well, we've got our own way to think about playing, so maybe in the mid-rounds we can just do what the fuck we want. That's a recipe for disaster. I'll also add, like, I know Cadian, I've known him a long time, I think he's a great guy, but I do also understand he wants to do things a particular way, and because he's got a very high level of self-belief, that can sometimes come across and actively be metabolized essentially as arrogance and stubbornness, and when that happens, and you know, you got to back yourself in sports, but when you're in IGL, sometimes it can be better to have a little bit of flex on some of the ideas. Regardless, it turns out the European micromanaging system and the NA, we know the game better than everybody else, we just want to do what the fuck that we think is right in the moment. Those two contrasting styles, you know, fire and ice, it just couldn't work. And so Cadian left and left Liquid quite unceremoniously, and the question became, where would he go? You know, where would he go? And it was a real valid question. You know, if you look at the top 10 teams and you think to yourself, where would he fit? Which I'll just do that here. Yeah, there wasn't really a place he could go. You know, you've either got language problems. Falcons was viable, I guess, because I don't think Snappy's long for that team. I could be wrong, but Zonic just has a fucking face like a smacked arse on him every time Snappy tries to do anything. He looks absolutely disgusted at everything Snappy does, whether that's fair or right or not. I think Falcons, by the way, have kind of... I think it's exposed Zonic a little bit, but whatever. We'll wait. We'll wait on that controversial opinion. So I thought that could have been a possibility. heroic. He could have gone back there because I think the org understood that they had fucked up, but then why would you replace a young IGL in the form of Kixon? It doesn't make sense. Big could have been a possibility. He maybe could have slotted in there. But in general, all the IGL slots were kind of taken up by people you wouldn't trade out for Cadian. And Astralis fans are fucking crazy. They hate themselves, which is good. You deserve to. You support a terrible organization that has been a blight on esports. So, you jumped in as glory supporters when they were winning everything. You deserve this now. This is like being a Man United fan. You deserve Maguire. You deserve it, right? And everyone else in the world knows you deserve it and relishes as it happens to you. I just want to make that clear as well. But I saw. I might try and find the Reddit thread. I should have had it ready, but I didn't know I was going to go down this cul-de-sac. But it's kind of funny. So when they lost to Complexity, right? Which Complexity having a tear, that boot camp really fucking paid off, eh? But when they lost to Complexity, the Astralis fans started losing their fucking mind. They started losing their goddamn mind. Because when you look here, they're all praising Device and they're talking about all of this stuff and, picking him apart. And you keep scrolling down, and a name is going to pop up. And they're going to start suggesting Hooksy. And I just can't believe it. I actually can't believe it. Who do you bring in if you move Device from IGL? Do they try for a young caller like Iceberg on Sashi? I don't know what experienced Danish callers there are, because Glaive wouldn't improve these results. The Giga Chad, they just say. They call it like he's got his own bat signal. Just the Giga Chad signal. And then somebody said maybe the only move that would make them worse. I really do think Hooksy is the play. I'm not sure how Stabby would play under a less structured system than they had with Cadian, but clearly something needs to change. From what I remember, Copenhagen Flames under Hooksy was fairly structured, and Yabby at the end of Copenhagen Flames was pretty good under Hooksy. The caveat is that over the entirety of his Copenhagen Flames run, Yabby wasn't great, and people thought Zyphon was next. But in fairness, Yabby joined them a month after turning 17. Keep forgetting that Yabby played under Hooksy. It'd probably be good for him to have his old leader back. Hooksy's literally right there. They need a space maker. You need a fucking space maker, mate. It's to put the space between the skull and your brain back, because it is swole and you are talking crazy. This team literally has no one taking the bullet for them to start off. None of the people in the roster is taking up that role. And when they try it, they're not able to set up for that scapegoat. And Hooksy is a good caller. They just need to call him. He's probably waiting for this. Hooksy is the obvious choice. Stop this fruitless experiment short and cut either bro or stare for Hooksy. So I was like, well, you know what? I hope they do that. I hope they do that. I was thinking to myself, go on then. Call Hooksy up, right? Call him up. Bring him along. Go get Hooksy. Have a good time. Hooksy, who took Copenhagen Flames to 1 round of 8 in their entire existence, and people pretended they were a good team. Hooksy, who had the best team in the world, overperforming, and won 2 S-tier trophies at a time when everyone was shit and CS2 was coming out. Go get Hooksy, a man who said in his own words, I rate my time on G2 a 6 out of 10 by my own performance. So go get him. Astralis deserve him. I wanted it. I wanted it bad. But it didn't happen. And instead, we've brought Cadian in. Now, this is an insane turnaround. First of all, Astralis famously, historically, they've had opportunities to play with Cadian before. Cadian is the ultimate outsider in the Danish scene, has been for many, many years. People forget the reason, he was done. He was done after Rogue. He was on the analysis desk. he was coming. Like he was out of the game, And obviously everyone remembers the classic Facebook group, Fuck Cadian, right? And again, this probably tells you a story about him and mate, his personality. He's not actually a typical Dane in a lot of ways. He's different. He's built different, you might say. I won't insult him. I won't say he's more Swedish. But, he's got this like manic edge to him. Maybe 10% Finnish. I don't know. But anyway, he's not a typical Dane. And for some reason, a lot of Danes just haven't historically vibed with him. But what he did at Heroic couldn't be ignored. And the players he developed and the achievements he had and winning a trophy with that team on a budget was crazy. And his stock was pretty high. And when Heroic picked the players over the IGL, who'd been an incredible servant to them, it blew my mind. And when he moved to Liquid, I was like, I hope he gets the bag, and I hope it works out. But as we now know, it didn't, and it really looked like it was going to be a potential MSL scenario. Well, it's mad, isn't it? MSL. He just never got another team. Why? He was widely regarded as one of the best IGLs. His team imploded. He said, I'm not going to jump into a team. He got scammed by that one team. And then we just never saw him again. Crazy. So with IGLs, it really is a fucking quantum state of being, isn't it? Because everybody says, we need more IGLs. IGLs are at a premium, and then sometimes there just isn't opportunities, and good IGLs end up not getting chances that they maybe deserve. Maybe Valorant was beckoning, something like that. So anyway, we end up here, this announcement, and this represents so many people have had to just swallow their pride, shut the fuck up, and accept reality, and I love that. I love a good humbling. I don't know about you guys, but I love a good humbling. I don't even mind if sometimes I'm getting humbled, because as long as someone's getting humbled, somebody's learning, and the world's becoming a better place. Hubris is the enemy of progress. And so anytime there's a fucking humbling, I'm about that shit. And so here is all of the people that got humbled. Let's start with Device. You got humbled, motherfucker, didn't you? I don't know why I'm calling you motherfucker. I like you, but whatever. It's a friendly motherfucker. Like Kamala Harris's. You got humbled because, you thought you could step into a fucking world that with no experience and just do that shit, take over that shit, and you did it by jumping into another guy's grave. A guy who worked hard. Yeah, he fucked up a bunch. He should have done more media work. He should have made himself more likable. He should have made an effort to do stuff outside of the server and be more interested in team building. Blame's not that guy. He just likes to do game, strats, gym. See you later. See you tomorrow. See you on Saturday. You know what I mean? You do get people like that in sports who they don't want to connect with a team. We're not buddies. I don't want to hang out. I don't want to build, I don't want to have that connection with you. That can't work if you're a leader or a captain. And I think probably he's got a great head for it and a great work ethic for it. But like Snappy said, most of what you do, it's off the server. It's about personalities and communication and that kind of thing. But you jumped in, didn't you, Dever? You jumped into a grave and you thought, it's lovely down here. I'll just pull some of this topsoil in. Fucking get warm. And now you're buried, son. And that's the business. So you've been humbled. Casper Straub has been humbled, obviously. Got up there, didn't you, on that? I might watch that HLTV confirmed episode, actually. Might watch it. like a sick loser. I might just watch it tonight in bed. But he got humbled, didn't he? Right? He got humbled. He said this was the way forward. It was going to happen for years. It was going to take Astralis to the next level. When you were getting them semi-finals, everyone was getting excited, right? So he got humbled. I love this humbling. Stown and Yabby, you motherfuckers. Quick little recap of what they did, right? In my report on the Substack, go read it if you want to. If you don't, doesn't matter. But it's really good. what they did was they said, we can't work with Cadian no more. And they called for an arbitration meeting, and they explained their grievances to Cadian. Cadian said, I hear your grievances. I just want to have another chance. And they said, nah, it's irreconcilable, this difference. It's us, Stabby, the Voltron of betrayal. It's us or him. You choose. And Heroic were like, fucking hell, these players are worth money, and we don't know what's going on with CS2, and Cadian he's more likely to be washed because he's getting to that age, and what do we do? What do we do? He's been such a good servant. And they turned to Stown and Yabby, and they said, look, okay, then we choose Cadian. Meanwhile, Stown was saying, listen, I'll do anything if you kick Cadian out. I'll be the AWPer. I'll be the IGL. I'll do it all. I'll write the theme tune. I'll sing the theme tune. And Heroic went, fine, I guess. That's what it takes. This is how it's going to be. And so, Cadian went. Stown and Yabby got what they wanted. And then they turned around and went, lol, just kidding. Lol, dickhead. We were joining Astralis the whole time. The whole time. And they did. And, you know, we had that incredible line about how, like, Heroic got to charge them. Astralis paid $2 million for those two players because Heroic, quote, charged them asshole tax. But that's what they did. And so all of that posturing about how you hate fucking Cadian and you can't work with Cadian and it's irreconcilable. Well, he's your leader now. He's your boss now. By the way, if I was Cadian, I would have no interest whatsoever in making this a success. I would be a fucking, to quote Trump, I'd be a dictator on day one, mate. I would be like, right, team building exercise, yeah, 20-mile fucking run. I'm right behind you, lads. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's have a marathon, yeah, an ultra marathon. I brought Pimp in as fitness coach. Get on the bikes, lads. Get on them bikes. I'd fucking work them. I'd make them so fucking miserable. I'd make them miserable. Casper Strauber would be like, look, we like this new direction of physical fitness, but when it comes to game time, we are all very tired. Please, Cadian, can we not? Can we have mercy? No, sorry. We're doing an ultra marathon a day until the major. Tell him, Pimp. Oh, yes, you want to watch this documentary of mine? Right? That is what I'll be doing. Because fuck the pair of them if I'm Cadian. But there's another aspect to this, another dimension to this. And that is that Cadian's probably having to eat a little bit of humble pie. Isn't he? Think about it. He obviously has been in one team where two players, quite famously, publicly, have said, he's bad. We will do anything to get away from him. And even if it was a ruse, that is the narrative. He went to Team Liquid and should have had a team. And he went to that team and got usurped again by another two players who said his style couldn't be reconciled. It was horrible. It wasn't fun. So he's had back-to-back teams where everyone's gone, yeah, he's a dickhead. So he's got to come in now and be like, fuck, kind of do need to make this work for my reputation. Also worth noting, Cadian, of course, not a spring chicken by any stretch of the imagination. You can see here, it should tell me his age. Look at that, 29. 29. It's all downhill from here, folks. So this probably is the last big move in his career. Now, fortunately for him, and we'll talk about this point in a moment, it is Astralis. It is the biggest team in Denmark. It does give you instant brand recognition domestically, although I'm sure, I mean, the population of Denmark's pretty engaged with esports anyway. I've been there, seen it, seen the Astralis players get fucking mobbed. I mean, you know, even the heroic players get mobbed. Even Hunden gets mobbed. So every Dane wants to play for Astralis. As bad as they've been, yeah, I can't tell a lie. Obviously, every Dane does want to play for Astralis. It's coming home, essentially. So it's a deal that works out. Thought about the positioning. I've seen some people go, Device is a really good rifler, and Cadian isn't. And Cadian can AWP. So Cadian should be on the AWP. Wrong. Dead wrong. Astralis have definitely done this one right. Because if you look at the stats, of Device and how he's been playing, even with the burden of in-game leadership, right? I mean, try and ignore Pro League, but I'm talking about, since he took over, you can see it goes all the way back. I mean, these are, lights out stats for an IGL. Obviously, not so much in the games that they lose when the pressure's on. But when the pressure isn't on and they're playing well and they're in that flow state, Device is really good. Now, if we go back and we compare those stats with the AWP to Cadian's stats with the AWP, you absolutely would not put this player on the AWP over Device. You just simply wouldn't do it. Particularly pre-joining Liquid. And at the start, he, at the end of his heroic tenure, he was in fucking nightmare mode. Ray Charles simulator. It was real bad. He was, when you looked at the statistics, he was like something like ninth out of the bottom 10 opposite LAN. It was really bad. Maui pulled the exact stat, but I think there was like one below him. It might have been Art or someone. It was really fucking bad. So anyway, I think it's probably right to put him on a rifle because I think the difference is kind of negligible. I don't think the difference between Cadian on the AWP and rifling is so insane that he has to have an AWP. And I wouldn't take Device off the AWP, even though he was a really good rifler back in the day. The other component to this... Well, in fact, let's do this bit first. We'll read the report. Here's what they said in the official... We can actually click on this. Yeah, let's do it. Let's read. I love a good Astralis press release in the morning. So here it is. Cadian. I share Astralis' vision. Always striving to be the best. Oh, they strive. Oh, how they strive. I'm thrilled to have signed with Astralis. I don't think that's a lie. I understand some might see this as a controversial move given my history with the team and past rivalries. Some may even question whether stepping away from the AWP is the right decision. But the truth is, I share the same vision as Astralis, always striving to be the best, building a top Danish CS roster, and competing for the biggest titles. I know some fans may feel I've had beef with Astralis, but actually I faced similarly fierce rivalries with other teams and players too. My intense winning mentality has always driven me to push boundaries, and these rivalries have only made me stronger over the years. As a leader, the Counter-Strike community knows what I bring, both tactically, where I've helped revolutionize the game, and through the passion I show, from energizing huddles to celebrating my teammates' great plays. Astralis fans can expect even more of that from me in the future. This reunion with Yabby and Stown is, of course, exciting for all of us, yeah. Real is exciting. You know what I mean? I hope you turn up first day in the office with like a fake plastic toy knife in your back and ask them to pull it out. Right? Anyway, this reunion with Yabby and Stown is, of course, exciting for all of us. We've addressed the challenges we faced in the past, and today we're fully aligned. After a year of reflection, we're still hungry for trophies and continue to share the same tactical vision that drove our success before, Cadian states. Casper Strauber chimed in and said, at Astralis, our goal has always been to compete for the biggest titles, and with Cadian's addition, we're improving our chances of achieving just that. We've not been satisfied with our recent performances despite hard work. Signing Cadian gives us the best prospect both in the short and long term. Cadian is a winner, energetic and passionate in everything he does. We're confident he will help shape our game and be a leader both on and off the server. Regardless of past rivalries, both Astralis and Cadian share the same drive to be the best. That energy thrives in competition, but it also shines when you unite for a common goal. We know what Cadian can bring, and he believes in the future of Danish Counter-Strike, especially with our roster. So, all's good, I guess. Now, look, it's obviously possible to revise your opinion. By way of a for instance, many of you know, I've had beef with people in the past. And one of the things I like about, the passage of time, none of the actual stuff that happens to you as a human, but, the wisdom and the perspective. And, I've had beef with lots of people. Many of the people I've had beef with in esports are like my good buddies now, my good friends. So it's entirely possible that Yabby and Stown have like talked to Cadian and gone, look, mate, sorry about all of that. We just wanted to get out of Heroic and get to Astralis. Right? And he's gone, yeah, mate, well, fucking hell, I had a dog shit time in Team Liquid. I thought you two were a pair of cunts. And then I met Naff and Twist. So, come here, bring it in, lads. Bring it in, all still mates. Give us a hug. So, it could fucking work out. It could work out. And they might have made up. I don't know. I would assume they've had internal discussions before they've gone ahead and made this move. I always thought the irony was the Cadian IGL style and the natural being a lightning rod and being the energy and being the guy that does the interviews and everything. I always thought he could have slotted into that like great Astralis core. Let's say, I don't know, Glaive had a prolonged absence or fell out with the team, or maybe in an alternate universe when Carrigan leaves they don't get Glaive. Glaive's still too ill, he's still on his sickbed with his collapsed lung and he can't play, and so they go and get Cadian. I always thought that could have worked. I think that was the great irony of his career. The players he could have played with just didn't like him as a person, and the players he ended up playing with were rookies, essentially. He got to develop inexperienced players, and they couldn't really afford to have an opinion one way or the other. So they just had to listen and learn, and he was very good at that. Whenever Cadian has rubbed up against star players in his career, it just they don't jibe well with each other, and that's just been a staple for one reason or another. So spare a thought for the victim in all of this. The Astralis altar of sacrifice drips blood one more time. One of the things I've routinely criticised Astralis for is they don't give a fuck about these younger players they bring in, and they bring them in and they put them in the team. Sorry, I'm doing a Trump cadence there, and it's so sad. It's so sad. It is so sad. They put him in the team, and they've done it to just like so many younger players. In fact, let's just see if we can get the former players. There you go. Look, Buzz came in. He was the answer. Then he was out. They did it with shit, man. It's too many to list. Like Lucky, Yugi. Here we go. Look at these. Look at this. Bubsky, obviously. How could I forget Reek? How could I forget poor baby Reek? Yugi, yeah, he's in there. It's just like a fucking tragedy. And when you get the original quote when he joined, it's especially sad. Because I don't think bro was like doing anything particularly wrong. It's like a dysfunctional team is a dysfunctional team. And it should never be on the youngsters to dig you out of the holes that you're in. Not when you pay $2 million for Yabby and Stown. They're meant to be winning you games. Here, look, just read this. I'm insanely happy to return to Astralis, bro said in a statement. I know what I'm talking about when I say it's a fantastic organisation. And it really hurt to see them miss the major because I know how much it means to everybody here. However, it has opened up opportunities for me, and I will do everything to show that I am the best choice for the team. They know what they're getting, and I know what it means to play here and be part of Astralis. Although I have the utmost respect for playing alongside such skilled players and the pressure of being here, I also know I can make a difference. That's who I am as a person and as a player, and I'm insanely excited to get started. That was at the end of February. Dead now, of course, and he's going to realise, like so many before him, the young players that Astralis bring in, they're not there to be developed. It's just a roll of the dice. They don't know. Nobody at Astralis knows. Their sports directors don't know. Famously, they don't. There was a guy who he knew handball. He didn't know anything about fucking esports, and that's the guy that gets the call which young talent are developing and which ones aren't. I mean, If I was Bubsky, I'd be incandescent with rage every time I woke up. They took a player who, when he was in Mad Lions, was like looking really promising. They bring him into Astralis. He's barely there. He's on the bench. They put him through a humiliating period. First off, we'll play you on this map and we won't play you on this map, and doing that crazy shit. Then just benched him outright, and he never got another team. And now he's doing milk toast analysis on Blast and fucking ESL because Astralis going, I'll give him a job. Please. We fucked him over. Give him a job. That has to be the only explanation. It's just ridiculous. It's just so crazy. So this is what they do to these players, and yet these young players, I get it. You have to jump at the chance, but sometimes it is a poisoned chalice. It is a poisoned chalice. You think you want the big, super important job, the big role, whatever it might be, but it's too much too soon, and you take it, and then it just ends your career. I don't know where Bro will go from here. I don't know if that's been stated. If he's like going to go back to Astralis Talent or something. Obviously, he's still going to be under contract, but it's just sad. Look, there he is. There he was. He went to Monty. Wait, we are getting Bro Ross, right? No, you're getting Bro. Astralis. And then there he is. It's just over for him. And he's only young. He's only 22. And he might not, who knows if he gets another team off the back of this. Don't say Falcons. Come on. Don't say Falcons. No one deserves Falcons. That's out of the frying pan into the fire. Nobody deserves that. So that's kind of sad. Now, back to the matter at hand. There he is, happier times. How do I feel about the move overall? Well, it's an interesting question. I was confident from the start that Device wasn't going to work as an IGL. I knew that was a move that wasn't going to last more than a couple of seasons. It just wasn't the play. I also wouldn't have been against them bringing Glaive back, honestly. I know, feels like Glaive's in his own kind of special hell over at Ents. Like it's the I get to be in the greatest team of all time, but I have to end my career in that Ents lineup. I absolutely wouldn't have picked up Hooksy, obviously. I just don't think he's a tier 1 caliber IGL. That's my opinion. It's always been my opinion. So that brings us to Cadian. And I think Cadian's a good IGL. I think he's a good system IGL. And I think he's good with taking pieces and putting together a game plan. My worry here is just the personalities in this team. Device, he's not shy about undercutting IGLs he doesn't vibe with. Stabby and Yown got previous. Stabby and Yown. Yabby and Stown. Just Stabby, fuck them. They're one entity now. And so I don't know. I really don't know. It's probably an improvement overall, I think. And it is going to throw up some interesting potential rivalries and stuff down the road. I think it's going to be interesting when Astralis play Liquid, and we're going to see Cadian, the supposed master, taking on the student in the form of Twists. That's going to be exciting when that invariably comes up. It's going to be interesting to see just overall whether Astralis can get back out there and among it, because they are so far off the pace of being a championship winning team, despite having, on paper, it's not a bad lineup. It's not a bad lineup at all. It'll be interesting to see if Cadian can do something to help Stown start turning up. That's the key to the team. I think Stayer, he does all of the really unsung hero work. I think he's a good kid. I think he's got the right attitude, and I think he's going to be one of those kind of, you need a cohesive glue in a team. I wouldn't have cut him. I guess if it had to be someone, it did sort of have to be Bro. Yabby and Stown should be doing more. They are essentially star players. You come with $1 million price tag. You are a fucking... you are a star player. And Stown in particular is that guy. Don't know what happens in terms of Anchor, but as I've said, I think this is the most role cells are the most overplayed thing in this. I've seen people, the roles are wrong, you said Malbs was going to be shit because he can't play anchor, and he's like been an absolute revelation since joining G2. So they'll figure it out. And is Maui crying about roles right now? I should call him. He's crying in the club. So we'll see. But they'll make it work. And I think it will be a step in the right direction. And I will wager they will get a similar honeymoon period bump. Unfortunately for them, if I remember rightly, yes, the new lineup will debut at the Blast 4 finals in Copenhagen against Vitality. And I kind of feel that's not the debut game you want. That's not where you want to start. Because as I've said in previous videos, we really should be in the Vitality era now. They've been so close to winning so many trophies. A lot of people feel that, like, it should have been Na'Vi's time. I feel Vitality could have been, we could have had a number of trophies under their belt already and potentially had that major, which, a lot of people were like, fluke major, and then Na'Vi went and won another tournament, and then people are saying it wasn't, when it kind of sort of still is. So that is trial by fire, but it's on home soil. The crowd will no doubt cheat on behalf of Astralis, as the Danes always do. So there'll be advantages, and obviously if you get a big result first time out, it extends that honeymoon period. It gives you that self-belief. So we'll see. I'm going to give it 1 thumbs up as a move. A tentative sound. Something did have to change. Device was never the play from the start. And probably out of all of the IGLs that were realistically available to slot into a Danish lineup, I think Cadian deserves one more chance. It's a last chance. I'll stress, if this craters and is garbage, I'll just say this. Cadian, I look forward to working with you at PGL desks in the future. Right? If this goes wrong, mate, jack it in. I'll see you. I'll see you on the desk, homie. But other than that, yeah, pretty good. It was shocking. It's always nice to be surprised by a roster move as well. I'll throw that in there as the final thoughts. It's nice to be surprised by a roster move because it's also kind of tiresome and predictable in general. And of course, it's also good to know that truth always prevails. And the truth is, Cadian's your boss again, mate.